So welcome to the Calm course. I want to start by just reiterating what I said in the last video. So it's easier to make change when you're enjoying the process and like yourself. So I really encourage you to cultivate that capacity to be kind and compassionate. Allow yourself to be a learner. Learn to be okay, to condition yourself to be okay about making mistakes. Go easy on yourself. BJ Fogg, behavioral change expert, says that gratitude and mindfulness are huge boosters to well-being, but the missing piece is celebration. So celebrate your wins. Give yourself a fist bump when you achieve something big or small, or do whatever works for you. But people are often very good at giving themselves a hard time when they make mistakes. They're not so good at celebrating their wins. So practice that. So the goal of this course is to help you achieve more calm. So let's start with the definition. So anxiety is a state of apprehension, uncertainty, and fear, resulting from the anticipation of a realistic or fantasized threatening event or situation, often impairing physical and psychological functioning. So a couple of points about this definition. Number one, talks about the word fear. And I see fear and anxiety as being two different things. We'll talk more about that in another video. And it talks about realistic or fantasized. So again, that's something we're going to explore. So I'd like you to consider, where does anxiety come from? Anxiety can be biological. Might be that there's some chemical imbalances. The reason for that is a whole nother topic. Might be medication is causing some anxiety. If you're unwell, hungry, tired, if you're consuming drugs. I remember one time drinking a lot of coffee and I felt anxious. There is some discussion about whether it's genetic, but some people make change really quickly, which wouldn't happen if it was genetic in cause for that person. So sometimes it is driven by the body. There can be environmental factors. Consider that if someone is scared of speaking in a group or scared of giving a talk in public, some people would say that's a scary situation, but not everyone finds it scary. If the room where they were giving a presentation or the room they were talking in was full of only babies, would they feel anxious? What do you think? Pop a comment in the chat, put babies and your thoughts. Remember, I talked about in the last video about being relaxed, allowing yourself to be a learner. It's okay to just have a go. I suspect most people would say no, they wouldn't feel anxious in that situation. Anxiety can be psychological, okay? And it might be that anxiety is a combination of factors. But in this training, we're really going to focus on what's going on a psychological level. So consider this question: would everyone feel scared if a lion was running towards them? I'll ask that question in the live session. I'll be interested in your thoughts. So the next thing to consider is, when do you experience anxiety? It could be in specific situations. For example, someone might feel anxiety in social situations, or someone might feel anxiety when they have to get on a plane. I had a client who had a fear of flying, and we did some work together. He was able to get on and off planes for a month when he was traveling around America. He's a musician, and he sent me a picture of him sitting in a cockpit. It might be health-related anxiety. Okay, so that specific anxiety, people can experience what I call the anxiety loop, where they're anxious about feeling anxious. And certainly that's something I experienced. And then some people describe that they experience generalized anxiety. They just have this underlying feeling of anxiety a lot of the time, and they can't really pinpoint the source. We'll talk about that in future videos. So it could be that there's a combination of those different types of anxiety. So what is the purpose of anxiety? Anxiety is a mechanism that's designed to keep us safe. Imagine you're walking down a dark street. You may cross the road where the lighting's a bit better. Problem is, some people can experience chronic anxiety. It's a bit like burning the toast and the smoke alarm goes off. And after you've opened the windows and cleared the smoke, the alarm doesn't switch off, it just keeps going. It's the result of an overactive mind. It doesn't make you bad, wrong, or flawed. It's just a faulty process. otherwise known as an algorithm. And you need to know how to switch it off, just like you need to know how to switch off that smoke alarm. I'll explain what an algorithm is in a minute. But the problem is that the algorithm is running on autopilot. And we'll talk about why that happens in another video. So you need a new algorithm. And we'll talk about how to break out of that autopilot and how to create a new algorithm in this video. So what is an algorithm, you may be wondering? Very simply, it's what we call an if-then sequence. For example, if it's raining, then I will take an umbrella when I go out. If I get thirsty, then I'll make a drink. Now, people have different algorithms. One person might say, if I get stuck in traffic, then I will get annoyed. Another person might say, if I get stuck in traffic, then I will just look out the clouds and spend a bit of time thinking. One person might say, when I wake up, I turn my phone on and scroll on Facebook for an hour. Another person might say, when I wake up, I'll get up, make a drink, and then do some exercise. So let's imagine a person has a social phobia. They might say to themselves, if I'm in a social situation, then I get anxious. If I get anxious in social situations, then I might avoid social situations. So we'll talk about how that person generates that anxiety. And when they understand that, they can change the algorithm. They might get to the point where they say, if I'm in social situations, then I will do A, B, and C, and then I'll feel calm. To break that down a little more, if I'm in social situations, then I will use strategies to calm my mind and body. If I want to feel calm in social situations, then I can learn social skills. If I learn social skills, then I can be more calm and confident and relaxed in social situations. So I've got a couple of questions to ask you. I'd like you to write down your thoughts, pause the video for a moment. It might be just a few lines, or it might be a bit more detailed. Ensure you write things in the present tense, as if you're talking a year from now. Be as specific as possible and state what you did over the year to help you get there. So for instance, that person who did experience social phobia might say, I am calm in social situations. I am comfortable talking to people as I've practiced chatting to people by going out on meetups. I am confident speaking in public as I decided to go to Toastmasters weekly. If you don't know, Toastmasters is an organization that helps people become more confident about speaking in public. They might say, I'm kind to myself when I make mistakes as I practice self-compassion and forgiveness. So that's the first question I want you to consider. So let's say pause the video now and just write down your thoughts. And what I'd encourage you to do is when you've written down your thoughts is actually to put that somewhere where you can see it every day. And that'll be a reminder for you to take action on a daily basis to help you to move towards those goals. And the second question I want you to consider is why? What is your motivation? What is your big why? Why do you want those things? So for instance, someone might say, I want to be more calm because then I will be healthier. Well, why? What's the motivation for that? Well, then I can spend more time with my kids. Okay, so why? Why is that important? Then they might say, actually, so I can fully express my love for them. Okay, so now that's a big answer. I want to be calm because I want to be healthier is a stepping stone, but the big reason is, I want to be there for my kids. So I want to share a really crucial piece in understanding anxiety. So when I understood what I'm about to share, I shifted from not really understanding anxiety and how I was generating it. It was a bit like being in a cloud to being able to see clearly the components or the recipe for anxiety. And I realized that it was kind of staring me in the face all the time, but I just hadn't seen it. It's a bit like recently I walked past a statue that I've driven past many times. It's on the north side of the River Thames, and I've passed that place many, many times, but I didn't see it because I was traveling fast. It was partially obscured. And when I was driving the other way, it was on the other side of the road. But in this case, I'd slowed down and I was able to see this lovely statue. And what I'm about to share with you is a bit like suddenly seeing that statue, even though it's been there all the time. So I'd like you to consider that anxiety is the result of interpreting an event in a particular way. So what do I mean by that? So let's talk about this power equation. And I call it a power equation as when you understand it, it gives you the power to change your experience. So what is the equation? So if you'd like to know the answer to that question and watch the next part of the video, you're welcome to sign up for my Calm course. Payment is by donation. So if you don't get any value, you don't have to continue with the course, you don't have to pay anything. If you find it valuable, then you can pay based on what you can afford and the value you get from the training. So if you'd like to know a bit more about the course, get in touch with me and I'll send you more details about the course. If you've got any questions, get in touch. Thanks for watching. Wishing you great health. Bye for now.